Well, you know the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, you can tell us about who were the people, the Teta Luba in Fort Wayne. How was she related to you?
Oh,
Connect.
no, Luba was a cousin.
She was a cousin.
She was a cousin, and she had a brother named,
They were from your village, or where? Where were they from?
they were from Vishni.
Vishni?
Vishni. Her mother and dad came from there. He came first, like my father, and then she came. No, I think she went to Bulgaria. He was there. They got married in Bulgaria. And then they both came over here, settled in Fort Wayne with relatives. And they had Luba and the boy, her brother. And her brother, what a coincidence, and my father have the same birthday, October the 4th. And every year I sent a card to him, and because my dad was gone, and I thought, well, this is the way to remember my father, to send him money. So then he didn't get married for long. Luba got married first, and then these two children, the boy and the girl. She's in Arizona, and she works there and everything, but she flies all over because she's some kind of a sales lady for something, I don't know. Anyway, she never got married. She doesn't want to get married. And her mother was very, very upset because she did not get married. But from the boy, he did get married, and I think they had about 3 or 4 children. And then he was very good at accounting. Her husband, he was an accountant, like beautiful, good living and everything. And Katerina lived with them. And then they finally, when he made enough money, when they made enough money, they built a brand new house, real pretty. And they moved to that. And then after that, they moved to another one. And this was the end of the houses. And then after Luba passed away, she was sick for about, maybe 5 years or so. And she was fast, she was young. And I felt very bad about it because I knew her real well. And being relatives. Anyway, she was gone, and he stayed in Fort Wayne for a while because he was retired. And then he went back to Arizona because his daughter was there. He built a house down there, and then he went back and forth to Fort Wayne in Arizona. And then most of the Levmovs, like the other brothers, these are cousins, they have houses down there too. They go for practically all winter. Because one of the cousins has a Cap'n and Cork, it's called. Real good business with liquor and pops and everything. I think he's got about 7 stores. He's very, very rich.
Now, you used to go over to Fort Wayne to parties or weddings?
We used to go to parties, we used to go to weddings, anything. Yeah, that came on, the ball. They used to have a one ball every fall. And every time we would go to the party at the ball. And it was very nice. We never, I think we did stay there. And many times we went because Dedo was, Sarah had the insurance company, and then he wanted to go there to get in contact with other fellas. They had meetings there. So we were there quite a bit. We used to swim in the swimming pool and everything, stay in a nice motel and everything. It was very nice, very enjoyable. At the same time, we saw our friends and our relatives. Most of our friends and relatives, because all of them from there are the same. And we used to go to the church, which is the Eastern Orthodox Church. They built it themselves. They got the money. And I think Mother and Dad contributed to it, and so did we. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful church. It's all different kind. It's an Eastern Orthodox. It has big cupola way up here, and the chandeliers and everything, and the lights and everything, just gold. And then all the icons are all over in front. It's different kind of a setting. And the minister, he's in the back, and then he opens the door, and he comes out, and he gives the sermon. And they had one minister there for about 15 years, but one of them left months, and he didn't hit it off right, so they told him to go. So he retired and then went to Dayton, Ohio with his wife. They had one boy, but the boy got killed in an accident. And so they went down there. And then I heard that he's been very sick. So I don't know how he is, how she is. I don't know the end of that.
But when you and Sarah got married, where did you go on your honeymoon, and then where did you live?
We got married in Bucyrus, Ohio, in a Presbyterian church or something like that. Anyway, because the Stoop didn't want us to get married there, because I went to church with my dad to the United Brethren Church every Sunday. And my dad used to say he had no, just girlfriend, but not any boyfriend, and never had any dates or anything. And he said, I wanted to go to the show once a week. They were popular. The theater was beautiful and had lights like in the sky with stars and things, beautiful. But he said, now if you go to church, you'll go to the movie, but if you don't go to church, you don't go to the movie. So I had to go to church in order to go to the movie. And one day, I was buying my ticket, and a fella, young man, maybe same age I was, yeah, because he had worked in our house, doing things, fixing things and everything. He said, let me pay the way, Olga. And he said, we'll go in together. Oh, I said, I can't do that. He said, why? I said, I'm not allowed to date. I said, if my father would find out, he would do everything. So I didn't accept his invitation. I went by myself, he went by himself. But they did a lot of work in our house. Very nice people.
So when you got married, where did you go on the honeymoon, and then where did you live?
All right, then we got married in Bucyrus, Ohio. They had a shower for me and everything in Marion and in my house. And then when we got married in the church, from the church, we had a reception. Mother and Dad paid for it. Everybody was fed and everything nice. And we had a band. There was a band, and they played, and they danced and everything, and we did too. And then I took her up about 5 o'clock. I think we were married about 1:30 with the hand of the clock going up instead of down. And so after around 5 o'clock, Sarah said it's about time we left. So we left, and a friend of his took us to the train. He took us to the train, a fellow from Mansfield, Ohio. Took us to the train and he left us there. And he gave me a whole bunch of pennies. I don't know what for. Anyway, they were very good friends. They were like brothers with the fellows he was running around with. And so we went to Cleveland, Ohio. We spent the first night in Cleveland. And the next day we took off for Niagara Falls. Well, we went to Niagara Falls, stayed there one night, got up the next morning to see the falls and everything. And because he did not have a job, he was without a job. So his brother, Tommy, sent a telegram. He said, Sarah, you have a job with Columbus Aquinas Boys School. You come right back because you shouldn't stay there. We want to stay a week. He said, you should not stay, you should come back because they want you to go to work. So we got on the train, came back to Columbus. We found a room that we could stay in, nice people, and he signed up for the school to teach and everything. Football, he was an assistant in football, basketball, and baseball. And we stayed there 1 year, and which was nice. And then he got a promotion, $600 more for another job at Rushville, Ohio, which is not very far from Columbus. And so we were there for a whole year. It was very nice. The people were, down at the school, there was something doing every night. You know, there was a small area and they all liked to get together. And they always got the great big, one time they would get a great big carton of fish from Lake Erie. So one day he ordered one. He said, bring me one. So he brought us the fish. I put papers on the floor in the kitchen. I fixed it up and everything. I fried it and all the way I knew how to do it. And when he came home, it was 7 pounds. It weighed 7 pounds. When he came home, we went through the whole thing. We ate the whole fish. Oh, it was funny. And we had some good neighbors across the street. The woman was not very, Mrs. Wycliffe was her name, Wycliffe. She was not very well because she had lost a son and something happened to her. But they were nice people to us and they gave us a lot of things.
After Rushville, where did you live?
Pardon me?
After Rushville, where did you
After
live?
Rushville, we went to Martin's Ferry. Martin's Ferry, and he was the helper to assistant, I should say. He was assistant to Gomer Jones. Gomer Jones is an All-American. And so Sarah helped in football. Not basketball, they had a basketball coach. Just in football. And we lived there 3 years. Patty was born in 1943. We had Patty then. She was 2 years old while we stayed there. And then we came home for the summer because he didn't have a job there. He came home for the summer and found a job in Galion, Ohio. In Galion, Ohio, he was I don't know what they call when they put two pieces of metal together. He did that, and he made $33 a day. And that $33 a day to us was like thousands, because in school there's no money. And so he stayed there all summer. And so he stayed there 3 years. We lived there 3 years with other people in the same house. And so then we came to Bizarre. He would go back and forth to what did I say? Anyway, he wanted to work there. And then one day he saw in the paper where they wanted a football coach for Lima, Ohio. And he said, I think I'm going to go and see what this is all about. I said, go ahead. And so he went over and talked to Mr. Lyer and Mr. Gantz. And he said, he came back then Sunday afternoon. He came back and he said, I don't know. He said, it looks to me like it's favorable, but you can't tell about these things. I said, well, whatever. He was the boss. I had nothing to do with it. I just went along and Patty, not Patty. Excuse me. And so I went back and forth. And then finally when Mr. Lyle and Mr. Gant said, the second time he went, he said, Mr. Lyle and Mr. Gant said, we'd like to have you for the football coach here in Lima. And that was 1945. Okay, and then in 1946, they had a house holding for the football coach because there wasn't anybody there. We lived on Southwood Lawn and for about 4 or 5 years maybe. And Patty was 2 years old. And so he worked for the schools, football and baseball, because they had a basketball coach. And then in the meantime, we had Karen. And my mother came the day before. She said, she was in Marion. She said, something told me, she said, I better go over there and see what's happening because it's time for their baby to be born. She came the night before, the next morning, I said, Mother, we've got to do something. I said, I don't feel good. Something's going to happen. So he called the doctor right away. We went to the hospital, and she was born in the morning about 7:30. No problems at all. With Daddy, I had all kinds of problems. There, nothing. She was born, and then we stayed there for about, Karen was about 15 months old when the house was sold, and we had to find another place to live in. Then we found a place on Bryce Avenue. The man, before that, Sarah found out that his son was smoking and punished the boy, took him off the team, and the father said, Pope, I'm going to run you out of town. He says, go ahead. I don't care. Run me out of town. So anyway, he did not run out of town. Then a year later, they moved out of the house on Bryce Avenue, and they, with the people that lived in there, the son was in trouble. He was the one that said to him, Pope, I have a house for you. So then we moved in there. We moved in their house, and our neighbors were very good. The street was very, very nice. It isn't as nice now, but it was then.
When did you move to Latham? Latham Avenue.
Oh, he always had a garden in the back, and we had flowers and stuff. We had an upstairs. Karen had one room. Patty had another room. We had another room. We had downstairs, living room, dining room, kitchen. Very nice house, wasn't it, honey? And then Karen, we started, I said, come on, let's go and look. Karen and I started looking for a house, and we'd say, oh, I don't like this. And we stopped something and said, I don't like this. We didn't like anything. So then we told Sarah that we didn't like it. So then one day, I was back there in these woods, and the baseball coach was out there. He says, Olga, what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for a house. We want to, either buy or build. Well, he says, why don't you go back there in the wooded area? He said, it's a lovely place. It's nothing but woods, no houses, nothing. So we went back there, put the kids in the car. When Sarah came home that day, I said, Sarah, Ron Dodson was his name. I said, he told me that there's places back of Leland. He was living on Leland, back up towards the wooded area. He said, that's what we want. He said, the wood area was wooded area that found great.
But before that, we were looking at houses in Shawnee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the thing. We and Kankakee.
Kankakee
We were looking on Kankakee and Shawnee. But these girls did not want to go there to move us because their friends were in Lima. So we had to let that go out the drain. So we built a house, and we were very happy. I remember we built a fire in the fireplace before the house was finished. Yeah, and
We stayed one night when it was finished. We went over. We spent the night in the house on the floor in the living room.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, then we're gonna go from there, back home.
Yeah,
Yeah, we slept on the floor.
we slept on the floor.
Yeah.
And then the day we moved,
Yeah, it was Karen and I that moved with the mover. Sarah and Patty were in school. So she's the one that dismissed
we
me.
went to King Burger for lunch.
Yeah, went to King Burger for lunch, she remembers. And this man was very nice. He was a black man, but he was very nice. He did everything for us. Put up the beds and everything. So from then on, they started going to school, first to Horace Mann, and then to Central. And first one, then the other.
Senior high, and now those schools are gone.
Now they're all gone, and Karen feels bad about that because there's no schools that she went to. And then, after that, after the schools, they graduated, Patty graduated. So we thought, well, every time we sit down at the dinner table, he would talk about education, talk about, getting them educated. So that was fine, that's all. They were crying for it, they wanted to go to school. and then Karen. I took Patty for the first time, and I cried, and I cried all the way back because she was the first one. She started at Ohio State, good grades and everything. And for 4 years, I went back and forth all the time. And then when that was over with, she came home, and then this other girl came. That was Karen, our daughter, and so she went down there. But when she went down there, I didn't feel as bad because I knew she would come back because Patty broke the ice, like you say, she broke the ice. And Patty got into the Vedas while she was in school. She wanted to be the president of that sorority more than anything. Nobody wanted her. They were jealous of her. They didn't want her. And then when Karen went in, Karen got it with no trouble at all. I took her down, and I say I didn't feel bad because we had one. We went through the motions, through the second. It was much better for me. I knew they would come back, and then they both. And then Patty decided to go to Colorado, and Karen went. Well, she went there with the girls. 6 months. She went there for 6 months with them, and some of the girls had boyfriends, and one would say, well, I'm going to get engaged. I'm 4 of them. I'm engaged. I'm going to break up. I got to get out of here. So when they started dismantling like that, one going here, one going there, well, what was there to do but the others took them home? So Patty came home. And she wasn't happy, but it was okay. And then, yeah.
I was at Ohio State.
Then you went to Ohio State. And then you had the chance to go to, she had a chance to go to Washington, D.C. And you were going to Germany. Sarah said, what are we going to do with her? It'll be gone. And so she called from the school to Mother. I had a chance to go to Washington, D.C. with Debbie. And I said, oh, that's okay. If your dad says, all right, I said, you can go. He came home, we told him. He said, that's fine, go. She's a good girl. They were going to be with a nice woman in the house and everything, so she went. And they made $700, which was a lot of money. And that made us all happy. Now where do we go from here?
Now tell about the stories. What would Dedo do when he would take the people out in the woods to look for the moose?
Oh yeah. Well,
tell the moose story.
In the back of the woods he had a place, he made a fireplace like, And so every once in a while he would light up the wood that was right around there to burn it up. And so whenever the kids were there, we had many, many parties, and they had scavenger hunts and everything there. And one time the 3 boys slept out there with one piece of meat and one knife. And that's all. Armand Trout and those other boys. And so they did that.
But then he would take the men out to look for the moose.
Oh yeah, when we had the parties, he would say, now come on kids, I'm going to show you the moose. I'll take you to see the moose. And he would go out there so far and he would just say, moosey, moosey. And they'd say, well, where's the moose? Well, that's it. And then they would come back. Yeah. Now where are we?
Okay, I think we can
Finish up.
We've got plenty. Let me.
Oh God, I can tell about grandchildren. Oh God, so much.
You could go on forever.
Yes, yes.